we met in the night watch. I met Stephanie in the night watch, which is the overnight prayer hours at IHOP from midnight to 6 a.m. And it tends to be a very small and consistent group of people. So the folks tend to notice who's in the room, and it's a little bit easier to socialize a little bit or say hi because you notice if a new person shows up. And so Stephanie was on the nights from the start of when she got here a year and a half ago. And I had done nights about 5 or 6 years ago when I was a student, but I recently got back on the night schedule in March. I just felt the tug in my heart. I always loved doing the nights. And so it was when I rejoined the night watch in March that I met Stephanie and her best friend from Ecuador, who are both here. And that's where I first met this lovely lady.
In March, I was joined the night watch as regular day. I met him at the lobby, just briefly, hi, how are you? And everything started there.
Yeah. And then after that, the Lord had us kind of miraculously connect at a pizza shop where she was there with her small group and I was there having lunch with a friend. And we hadn't intended to go there that day, my friend and I, but we kind of felt last minute, let's go somewhere new, somewhere different. So we drove down to this other town and went to this restaurant we don't normally go to. And we even went to a part of the restaurant we don't normally go to. And that's where we ran into Stephanie and her small group, which I knew some of those people. And at the time, my friend was looking for a small group. And about a month later, I was also interested in going to a group, just looking for more community. And so that's when I went to this small group and we got a little bit better acquainted.
Since the beginning, since I got here, I wanted to get involved in the community. So I was looking for a small group and I found this one that I particularly like a lot. And after a while, might be April or April, that he joined the group. We connect there more. We have the opportunity to talk a little more during the before time, the friendship group.
Like the social time.
The social time.
Yeah, yeah. And that was something I really liked about Stephanie right from the start, was she was easy to talk to. And she's a very pretty girl and really amazing, but just very down to earth and just very normal, like just easy. And it didn't feel weird, didn't feel awkward, and I just really enjoyed talking to her. And I felt that peace right from the start.
Then by June, we connect more because I knew him from the friendship group. Sometimes we went for like group setup, a group hangout outside the prayer room or outside the friendship group. That's when we connect the most. Then August was the...
Yeah. So things just built gradually, just being in the same community, being in the same small group, doing a few things socially. But I love how gradual it was. It was just normal, two people just getting to know each other. I don't think there were crazy sparks flying or crazy emotions at that point. No, that's okay to say. I think in a way God kind of veiled our eyes, because what happened in August was IHOP, International House of Prayer, called a 21-day Daniel fast. So this was a season where the whole community was invited to fast and pray. And I had been going through a lot of emotional turmoil and dealing with some old hurts and pains in my life. And right away on day one of that fast, I could feel God touching me. And I think even some of those pains were keeping me from really pursuing a relationship or even thinking about that seriously, because I was just dealing with a bunch of stuff. But day one of that fast, I felt the Lord like, boom, I'm here. And like by the middle of the fast, I felt different. I felt better. Things that had been so painful and really weighing me down were gone. And I was like, whoa, I just feel different. It was like the sun came out. And then things got even better.
Yeah, I guess when we started that fast, so I was praying and the Lord set up a theme of this fast. Personal, right? It's a global fast, but it's also personal fast. And the theme was about your husband, about get ready for the person to come. And I didn't get it, I just went along. He did it. At the end of the fast, we connect the most during those days by meeting in the lobby on break.
Didn't you have some kind of dream or prophetic encounter too during the fast?
Yes, well, I had the fast, it was 21 days. I nearly had 18 dreams about your husband or the same theme. You can't see his face in the dreams, but you know, like, the person that is right next to you is your husband. And it was really cool that the Lord spoke to me in that way, because it probably will be the only way that it will catch my attention.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it was fun to see how God was drawing us closer together during that Daniel fast, because even before we really connected or really had the unveiling, it would seem like we would run into each other, because in a Daniel fast you can eat nuts and berries and, you know, basic foods. So very often in the middle of the night we would both end up in the lobby unplanned, just eating our little snacks, or maybe eventually it became something we kind of look forward to at a certain time. But even that, God was just beginning to draw us closer together, more chances just to chit chat and talk and get to know each other. And then something happened right in the last week of the fast. Stephanie's roommate had to go to the airport for an early morning flight, and Stephanie didn't want to drive there, drop her off, and drive all the way back alone in the wee morning hours. And so somebody had an idea to ask somebody to go with her.
So I asked him to go with me, just as a friend, like to hang out with me and not be alone at that time. It was in the middle of the night. That happened maybe 2 days before the fast end. And then another friend asked me to take him to the airport. So it happened twice. First with my roommate and then with my friend, that I asked him to come with me to the airport, which is 45 minutes drive.
Yeah, and so I remember that first trip to the airport, it was fine. And then on the way back, we just kept talking, kind of like we've been doing at the small group. And I remember we got back to the prayer room and, you know, don't tell anyone, but instead of going back in the prayer room, we just kept talking for another hour or two. And because it was just flowing, it was just normal. And I think that's where my eyes were really unveiled. And it was like, whoa, there's really something here, someone here. And from there, things just began to click and just accelerate.
Mm-hmm. As more as I get to know him, to talk to him, to get to know him, actually, I discovered the interesting person that he is, and the person that I actually love, and all the good qualities and the godly qualities that he has. And you know, like when you are a girl, you desire things, but I didn't see it in the beginning of my friend. Then when after the fast, I start to see more things about him that I feel attracted to.
So things really took off from there. That was early to mid-September, and I knew by maybe a month later, I knew by mid-October that I wanted to marry this girl. And so, yeah, I know I'm going to. So I actually prayed that we would be engaged by the end of the year, and that's what happened.
Yeah, I always wanted a person that is in charge, he takes the initiative, and he had a lot of things that I wanted, that I see in a future husband. And the Lord actually invited me one of those days before, before we got engaged or got to actually date. He invited me to be open to our relationship, and that's what I did. I took it.
And it happened. We got engaged, and now we're getting married. Praise the Lord. We couldn't be any happier. I love this little girl.
Yeah,
you're right by my side, right where you belong. God set things up really well. Stephanie's best friend from Ecuador was going back to Ecuador in mid-December. And so we said, hey, why don't we go down to the Red Bridge and take pictures of the two of you before you go? And that's where something else happened. We got engaged. So we came down to this most romantic spot in Kansas City, and I said, you know what, we're actually not here to take pictures of you and your roommate. But it was great because she was all dressed up and didn't know it was coming. And then I got down on one knee and asked her to be my wife. And she said yes.
And I say yes.